Reflection is a metaprogramming tool available in Java that allows you to query any information about an object's class at runtime, such as its fields, methods, and everything else. In practice, you just need to call a getClass method in any object, and then you will have a range of methods to query any information you need. Now let's see how we use it. In this project, I have to deal with a legacy jar file filled with poljos that do not implement the toString method, so every time I log this object, I get this useless string. But what I really need is something like this that actually shows me something useful about the object. So let's start by instantiating a parser class that we will implement later. Create a customer to parse containing a unique code, a name, an email, and the date when it was registered. Next, we parse the customer using our class, and finally we expect to see a string containing the name of the class and all of its fields, except the email because I don't want any sensitive information in any log file. Now, down to the implementation. I'll be using a string builder to concatenate all the class data together. The first thing we need is to have the class name in the beginning. So let's use our first piece of reflection trickery. In here, we query the name of the class. We call the getClass method to start using the reflection API, to then use the getSimpleName to query the class name. We then get this name and append to the output, appending an open brackets right after. Let's see now how to iterate over all the object's class fields. With a for loop, I can use another reflection method to iterate over all the fields of an object's class. Same as before, we get the object's class information to then get all of its declared fields. That in this case are all the fields defined within the customer class we are testing. Within the for loop, we get the name of the field and its value. GetDeclared fields returns an array of fields, where each field object is a field declared within the object's class. So in here we just need to get its name and its value. The get method in the field object needs to receive the object instance, because the field object does not hold the data, but it knows how to get it from an object that has that field. With this, we can append the name to our output, followed by an equal sign and the field's value, ending with a comma and a space. Outside the for loop, we have to get rid of the two last characters of the output. In the for loop, after every field we add, there is a comma and a space, so when we get to the last one, we no longer need the separator. Finally, we close with a bracket. If you run the code, we get an illegal access exception. This happens because we are trying to directly access a private field in the customer class, which is usually not something possible to do in Java. But not in this case. We can just ignore this and disable the check altogether by using another reflection trickery by calling the method setAccessible in the field object. This will make the current field accessible to the outside world regardless of its access modifier. And done, we have our string, but the email still shows up alongside a wacky date format. I just want a simple year month date. Let's get back to the implementation and focus on the for loop. To remove the email is a simple matter of adding an if statement. If the name of the field is equal to email, then we just ignore this one. Now to format the date, we need to override the field value variable, only if the field type is equal to a date. Then we format the field value variable itself. This date format object is just a field I've created in our object parser class containing the format to display the date. After running the code again, we get the string representation we want, and the test we wrote before is passing without any problems. But we are not done yet. At least you are not done yet. We only dealt with the customer class. In the lib, we still have other poljos needing to be properly parsed to strings using reflection. I left the source code below for you with a new test case which is failing that you need to fix the implementation until it works. So I'm just going to get a cup of coffee, and when you're done, let me know in the comments below.